Welcome back to Rolando Estocada. My name is Rolando, and for today's episode, we will be covering the short stick methodology in Filipino martial arts, specifically with its use in Felicissimo Dizon's Mohara. Something that I really enjoy about the short stick is that finding a stick of this particular length is a little more accessible and readily available if you happen to look for improvised weapons, if you happen to be in some deep trouble and will need a weapon as a type of equalizer to make your situation somewhat better. So this is a very good example of a stick that is considered a short stick. Generally, a short stick in Filipino martial arts is defined as somewhere between 18 and 24 inches in length. This is about 24 inches in length, and later in the episode itself, we will do a comparison of what is the standard length, which is 28 inches. 24 inches in length is the ideal size of a stick from my purposes in terms of the practice of the short stick in the Mohara method. What we're going to be covering today is some of the Doblete method as it was taught to my father by Felicissimo Dizon. One thing I do want you to consider is that the short stick in Filipino martial arts starts to lend itself as a tool and as part of a practice with the other weapons that I have been covering in these episodes. One of them is the short tomahawk, because do take into consideration that they are almost relatively close in length. And the same thing could be said about a buoy. In this instance, a beautiful cold steel Natchez buoy. One of the reasons why I took to the buoy so quickly when my instructor first introduced it to me is that it moved a lot like a short stick. And the short stick was what my father started me in when he started teaching me Filipino martial arts. So this beautiful cold steel Natchez buoy feels and moves similarly, not too closely, but similarly to a short stick. So we're going to see some Doblete, some of the Mohara, and definitely some buoy combatives combined in the practice of the short stick. I really hope you enjoy this video. Stick around, stay tuned.
The Filipino short stick is a completely different animal compared to its older brother. The usual recommendation for the length of a Filipino martial arts stick is 28 inches and roughly takes over the length of the entire arm. The shorter stick is roughly 4 to 5 inches shorter than that. It is often lighter, more compact, and faster to manipulate. This is where super lightning fast, arm-centric movements really come into play. This is the tool I prefer when utilizing and practicing the Doblete strategy and the techniques that are included in that curriculum. They are super lightning fast to implement with techniques that are very fast and mostly arm-centric, most of which are based primarily on athleticism, agility, and speed. Although the Doblete technique is super fast once you combine it with the strategies of Mohara, where kabilaan, dagdag bawas, dulo sa dulo, and dalahawan all of a sudden come into play, it becomes an even more devastating and fun system to implement. What seems as first as a hardware deficiency by using a short stick can be compensated and augmented by a different strategy by switching hands using the kabilaan strategy from Mohara. The first phase of the strategy is to stay on the right hand for as long as possible by using short strikes like jabs, Doblete strikes, all of which to start to get a sense of how the opponent reacts to the distance and reacts to the timing. Once we get a sense of that, we can still stay on the right side by using a couple of things. One is to use dagdag bawas to close the distance and use that as a puño to get closer. After that strike, we can do a couple of things. One of them is after that puño strike, we can switch to a stick grappling strategy, which I happen to prefer because of my jiu-jitsu background. Although it's not a preference by Felicissimo Dizon, I like to use this because I have the attributes to go ahead and close. I can use limb destructions, limb breaks, and also chokes. So using strikes from Doblete, short strikes, fakes, and feints to completely set it up, now I can switch the distance and strategy by switching to kabilaan.